let's get into the first solo then. This is a solo played by Richard Lloyd. It comes in at about the 3-minute mark, I think. It's nice how we've got two amazing solos in this tune, but both completely different. This first solo is very concise. It's perhaps a little bit more composed and considered. And then you've got Tom Verlaine's kind of epic, more kind of free-form, improvised solo. So it works really well kind of compositionally, I think, to have those two different soloing approaches in the same song. And when I first started listening to television, I didn't really appreciate the stylistic differences between the two guitar players. I didn't even know who was playing which part on each of these songs. It's only subsequently that you can do your research and figure out who's playing what. But now I think I can hear the very distinctive sort of personality of these two players, both fantastic players, both two of my favourite players, but pretty different. Richard Lloyd is perhaps a little bit more technically adept in a traditional sense. So don't get me wrong, Verlaine was an incredible player technically as well, but I get the sense that Lloyd was a bit more kind of plugged into the tradition of great rock guitar players. So Jimmy Page, Hendrix, those more kind of blues rock players. You can hear a little bit of that in his playing, whereas Verlaine is very much his kind of own approach. I can't really listen to a Tom Verlaine solo and pinpoint his influences, say he got that lick from Chuck Berry, or he got that lick from Jimi Hendrix or whoever. But let's get into the specifics of this solo then. It's a key of D, and it's got that D Mixolydian flavour. I might first of all start by just outlining the chords that we're playing over here. So it's important to be aware of the harmonic backdrop, and essentially it's just a D chord or a D power chord. So and there's just a momentary C chord, I think, in passing. That's the rhythm part underneath the solo. So it's D, 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3, and that just repeats. And then over the top of that, Richard Lloyd is soloing. It's really just three phrases, three incredible phrases, but that's how the solo is constructed. So maybe if I just break down the solo phrase by phrase and talk you through what's going on. And the first phrase, and this is how I'm playing it, we've got so really beautiful flowing legato style phrase, and the note choice is really interesting as well. So remember, it's that sort of D major, D Mixolydian, I suppose, kind of vibe that we're going for. When you're playing with that kind of sound, you've got options. You can play the full D Mixolydian scale, or you can play more kind of a bluesy pentatonic thing. So the D minor pentatonic will work, the D blues scale, the D major pentatonic will work too. And as you'll see, Lloyd seems to be mixing up all of those things in these phrases. So the way I'm playing this, I'm starting on this D note here, so 15th fret on the B string, just playing that twice, and then got a descending scale run. So I took quite a bit of time really closely listening to this, because there are multiple ways you could play these notes on the fretboard. I mean, these are definitely the correct notes, but you could play them in different places on the guitar. That's one of the interesting things about the guitar. You can play the same phrase in lots of different ways. This is the way. I'm not promising this is exactly how Richard Lloyd did it, but it certainly seems to flow nicely doing it like this. So I'm starting on the B string, and I've got a pull off, and then sliding down to the 10th fret. This is all on the B string. And then we've got this. It's kind of a scale sequence, I suppose. You've got these groups of 4 notes. So coming down in 4. So we're coming over onto the 3rd string. Then we're going up again and coming down. So 10, 12, 11, out to the 12th fret on the D. Another group of 4, it's this F sharp coming down. This is kind of the pentatonic bit of the lick. So then we got this kind of bluesy, more chromatic thing. So it's kind of 12, 11, 10. I'm sliding down to the 8th fret here, and then resolving the phrase with this note at the 9th fret. So those are the notes. If you want to play it up to the speed of the record, you've really got to think about how you're going to articulate these notes. So he's certainly not picking all of those notes, but where you place the slides, the pull-offs, is really going to affect the sound of the lick, and also how flowing the lick is. And if you try to pick all of these notes, it would be very difficult to play it up to speed. But if you get these little slurs and articulations in the right place, it does seem to flow pretty naturally. So forgive me for going into quite a lot of detail on this, but I think that is important if you want to play this idea up to speed. So again, the way I'm doing it is, so coming down here, pick, pick, slide, pick, and then the next group of 4. So it's pick, pick, there's a pull off in there. The next group of 4, again the pull off from 12 to 10 on the D. I'm picking the next note, then pulling off and sliding. So 3 notes there for the price of 1 pick stroke. So pick, pull off, slide, and then picking the final notes. An amazing lick that way, and it will take a little bit of practice to get that up to speed. But I think this is, it's a learnable lick. It's a great kind of phrase to have in your vocabulary. I think I've certainly stolen this idea, and you can repurpose it and use it in all kinds of different places. So if I just turn on the distortion and I'll play it a little bit faster, you can hear how it sounds up to speed. Fantastic lick, love that one. And as far as the note choice here, if I just kind of analyse the notes he's playing, it is this mixture of kind of minor pentatonic, D minor pentatonic, D blues scale, and D mixolydian. All of those things are kind of interchangeable, and it's just kind of down to your ear which notes you choose. So you might like to think about your D minor pentatonic here as giving you a reference point. So you've got your main kind of box or position of the D minor pentatonic scale, and you can slide up on the B string. That gives us this high D note. That's the starting note for this phrase. So you've got that pull off and slide just with the 1 stroke of the pick. That's all just D minor pentatonic. And here's the first non-minor pentatonic note. This is the F sharp. So this is the major third. So quite a sort of typical kind of bluesy thing to do is you can mix the minor and the major third. But here we've got that D mixolydian tonality, so that F sharp is giving you that D major sound. And then we're coming down again. That's the same thing. So the major third, D minor pentatonic, and then this is D blues scale. We've got the addition of this note here, this A flat. That's the flat 5th from the D blues scale. That's another minor pentatonic note. That's the minor third. It's got that kind of bluesy sound, but then he's going up 1 fret to hit the major third. It's that F sharp again. So it's that mixture of mixolydian, minor pentatonic and blues. Really effective, I think. So that's phrase 1. The next phrase goes like this. So similar in a way, the rhythm is exactly the same, but the note choice is now different. So we're now starting at the 10th fret on the B string. Again, descending in 4s, so it's a type of scale sequence, but we're coming down the mixolydian scale here, so it's 10, 8, 7, and then over to 9 on the 3rd string. That's our first group of 4. So you play that first A note a couple of times, just letting it ring, and then we're into this 16th note flurry of descending 4s. So 1, 2. So I'm pulling off there, so just picking once, and a double pull off, and then we're descending again. So that's the next group of 4 with a pull off in the middle. That's the same idea, just taken over to the next set of 3 strings. And then we're coming down once again. So it's 9, 7, sliding down to the 5th fret, and then going back up again. So if I just go into a bit of detail about the articulation of that, like I did with the first phrase, so particular notice where I'm picking and where I'm using my fretting hand to generate the notes. So pick, 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 got 2 pull-offs there, pick, pick, there's a pull-off in the middle of that group of 4, pull-off there. There I'm just picking, pull off, slide, and I think I'm picking the last 2 notes. And I don't promise this is exactly how Lloyd does it. I have listened to it very closely. This just kind of seems to work best for me. So a beautiful kind of flowing lick. And if I analyse the note choice here, this seems to be more of a major pentatonic sound. So they're contrasting phrases. The first one is kind of minor pentatonic, minor blues, and then this is more a sweeter kind of major pentatonic thing. One way of thinking about that is you've got your D minor pentatonic, go down 3 frets, you've got your D major pentatonic. Both of those things will work against this fairly static D chord, or in this kind of mixolydian context. The only extra note is this note here, this G note, which comes from the D mixolydian mode. So all of the other notes are D major pentatonic. So I'm just going to turn on the overdrive and I'll bring that lick up to speed. So we've got another lovely phrase. Then for the final phrase we're going way up high. So right up here at, what is that, the 19th fret, and just repeating that note 2 or 3 times, and then we've got this little quick repeating lick. So 19 pulling off to 17, and then I'm playing fret 20 on the 2nd string and just looping that. So it might take a little bit of practice to get that up to speed, but the pull-off certainly helps. You're not picking every single note here. The way I would tend to pick that, I'm playing down and then down, up. I think that kind of, it sets up this kind of thing where you're on the outside of that pair of strings. That just seems to be a little bit better if you're trying to play fast. And then we come out of that repeated phrase, and then I'm bending at the 20th fret, just bending up a tone, and I'm not really hearing the bend on the recording, but I haven't got 22 frets on this guitar. If you've got 22 frets, you can go actually play the 22nd fret. I'm not sure, maybe he is bending it, but you're just not hearing the bend go up. I don't think he would have had 22 frets on his guitar. I believe he's played a Telecaster on this song. I don't think Telecasters had 22 frets in 1977. Maybe I'm wrong. Somebody will put me right, I'm sure. But either way, you want that high note, so you can either bend up to it, or if you've got a 22 fret guitar, you can just play that as a fretted note. So that's the solo, really great solo, and quite a learnable one as well. I mean, yes, it is quite technical, and if you're not such an experienced player, it might be some time before you're able to get those licks up to speed, but it is doable if you take your time with it, and you really think about how you're articulating those notes. Make sure you're picking it in a sensible kind of way. You can actually learn all of these phrases more or less note for note, and I think that will be time well spent, because they're very useful phrases that it'd be good to kind of get them into your vocabulary, and you can use any of these licks or phrases elsewhere. in contrast to the Verlaine solo, which is not, as I'll be talking about in the next video, it's not such a learnable solo note for note. My approach with that solo would be more to kind of skim through it, kind of soak up the vibe, maybe steal an idea here or there, but it's not something that you can learn to play note for note just because it's such a one-off improvised thing. So I'm going to end things there for this video. In the next video we will be getting into that fantastic Tom Verlaine solo.